Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to Slighted Sports, and of course, the first video on the channel. I'm really excited to jumpstart this channel. You know, I love sports. I can't wait to share my opinions and thoughts and talk about the topics with you guys. And of course, today we're going to be talking about the NFC East and breaking down all the schedules game by game to predict the records of the teams and whether or not they'll make the playoffs. And I just want to give you a little introduction about myself, you know, so you guys can get to know me, but I'm not going to say too much as to bore you guys. But yeah, I am from the Chicagoland area, so obviously a Bears fan. I'm also a big Titans fan, so those are my top two NFL teams. And I attend the University of Notre Dame, so a Fighting Irish fan, obviously. So we're going to get right into it. You know, there's quite a bit to talk about. This is a highly contested division, as some people refer to it as the NFC least, because overall, I'm pretty sure their win percentage is the lowest out of, you know, all the divisions in the NFL. And by the way, we will go through and break down all the other divisions in the next few weeks here. I'm very excited to do those videos for you guys. Hopefully, you know, every other day I can pump one out because, you know, I love this stuff. You know, it's my passion. So I got the notes here. I got the schedule. And like I said, game by game, we're going to go through and talk about who wins and who loses. And I think we have to start with the Cowboys, America's team. I personally think the best team in the division this year. So without any further ado, we're going to get right into it. So they open up at Los Angeles, the Rams, with their new logo and such. I think this is a win. I'm not too hot on the Rams this year. Lost Gurley, lost Brandon Cooks. Defense is not as good as it used to be. So I personally think the Rams will not have a great season, as you'll see in my predictions for that division. Then they're at home against Atlanta Falcons. I think that's also a win, but I think it will be a tough game. It probably will be one of the closer games they have this season. Then they're at Seattle. I think that's a loss. You know, I'm pretty sure the last time they played was in the playoffs when Dallas actually beat them. So Seattle's going to want some revenge here. And, you know, Seattle's always good. You know, with Russell Wilson, they'll always be good. So that's a loss. Then they're at home again for the Cleveland Browns. I think that's a win. Again, not super sold on the Browns yet. They have lots of talent, but will they be able to put things together? I don't know. By week 4, I don't think so. Then the Giants, you know, as you'll see in a couple moments here, I don't think the Giants are going to be phenomenal. So this is a win here for the Cowboys. Then another close game, in my opinion, at home versus the Cardinals. So Kyler Murray, of course, his sophomore year, I think he'll be good. DeAndre Hopkins, I think he'll be good too. But again, this is only week 6, I'm pretty sure here. So they're probably still figuring things out with a shortened offseason, which, by the way, I do think this season will happen. There's a lot of fun things about this season, so it better happen. I'm really excited for it. And I think it will, you know, whether it be no fans, 25% capacity, fans, either way, it's happening, in my opinion. So that's a win. I also have them winning at the Washington Redskins. Again, like the Giants, not going to be that good this year, in my personal opinion. Then they're at Philadelphia. So this is, you know, again, probably going to be one of the closer games, but I'm not so hot on the Eagles this year for reasons I'll explain in a couple moments. So this is another win. So this is pretty phenomenal. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1, right? This is pretty phenomenal for the Cowboys. But Cowboys will do cowboyish things, and they'll probably lose one of these games they shouldn't. In my opinion, it'll either be, you know, the Falcons game, maybe even the Rams game, maybe the Browns. He probably will lose one of those 3, or even the Eagles. So then, you know, we got the other side of the schedule here. They go, no, they're at home against Pittsburgh. So again, I think Pittsburgh will be better this year. Their defense is phenomenal, as proven last year. Big Ben is back. I don't think Big Ben's going to be as good as he ever was. I think that's, you know, injury was pretty severe, and he is up there in age. Was he like 38 now? So probably not going to be amazing, but I do have them actually losing this game, though. I think Pittsburgh will come in and be able to take the win. But again, this one could go either way. Probably one of the closer games that the Cowboys have. Same thing with this next game here. They're at Minnesota. But I do have them winning this as kind of a revenge game for last season when Minnesota beat the Cowboys. So I have them winning that. Then Redskins again, this time at home. So that's definitely a win. Then they're at Baltimore. obviously not winning. Maybe if they were at home, they'd have a chance, but they're at Baltimore. They're not going to win this game. I still think Baltimore is going to be in the top 3 best teams of the 2020 season. Then they're at the Bengals. So the Bengals are a wild card for me this year, not as in a playoff, but like, I don't know what's going to be happening with them, with Joe Burrow in there. So is he going to be good? Their defense still a little rocky, and we'll talk about that in obviously my NFC or AFC North prediction video. But I do think they're going to win this. I mean, come on, it's the Bengals, still trying to figure things out. Then they're at the 49ers. No, they're home, my bad. That's a loss for sure. Whether it's home or whether it's at San Francisco, that's a loss. I mean, 49ers are going to be good this year as they were last year. Then they're at home against Philadelphia. So if they won on the road against Philly, in my book, they're going to win at home either way. And then they finish off the season at New York, at the Giants. That's a win as well. So I have them at 12-4 there, but I feel like they'll probably end up 10-6. Some of these games they'll probably end up losing. Like I said, they'll do Cowboyish things, which like they did last year, losing games that they shouldn't have, like at the Jets. So probably, I don't know, Vikings, one of the Eagles games, and maybe the Falcons, one of those could be losses or 2. So I feel like 10-6 to 12-4 would be their range. And yeah, they make the playoffs. So now we're going to move on to the Eagles. So the second best team in the division, in my opinion. And I don't think they're just going to be that good this year, despite I still think they're the second best team in the division. But drafting Jalen Hurts at the second round, that's big. I mean, second round, that's pretty significant. He's not just going to be a backup quarterback. I mean, they intend to use him. I'm pretty sure Doug Peterson has mentioned they intend to use him in kind of like a Lamar Jackson-esque way when he was in his rookie season, I believe, with Joe Flacco. I don't know. I mean, Joe Flacco got replaced by Lamar Jackson. So in my personal opinion, this will place a lot of pressure and strain on Carson Wentz. He'll get nervous and he's just not going to play as well because he's going to be, feeling like he's got somebody looking over his shoulder, questioning every move. And as Philly fans are, they're probably going to, if Wentz makes some bad plays, they're going to want to see Hurts in there. I mean, Hurts is a good quarterback in college at least. We'll see how he does in the NFL. But either way, it'll be a little interesting to see that relationship and how they clash. So starting off with their schedule here, they likely, in my opinion, will go 3-0 or at least 2-1. So first, they're away. They're away at Washington Redskins. That's a win. Then they are at home against Los Angeles. I have them winning that as well. Again, not huge on the Rams this year. And being at home, I think that's a win. If it were at Los Angeles, I'd probably give it to LA. Then they're at home against the Bengals. This is only week 3 for Joe Burrow, so that's a win. Then 49ers away. That's a loss, obviously. Away at Pittsburgh, probably a loss there. I have Pittsburgh doing pretty well, like I said. Then they're at home against the Ravens. Despite where the game is being played, the Ravens are going to win that. Then home for the Giants. That's a win for the Eagles. Home for the Cowboys. Could go either way, but I do think the Cowboys will take this one, like I mentioned before. Then we have them away at New York Giants. That's a win again. Then the Browns. I feel like this will be one of the more close games or closer games of their season. And I do actually have them losing this game. I mean, this is week 11 now. I feel like the Browns, Baker Mayfield, they're going to have some rhythm and they'll gain some momentum. So I think the Browns are actually going to take this game, especially because it's not at home. Then they're at home against the Seattle Seahawks. This is a very funny game. I mean, they played each other twice last year. I'm pretty sure it resulted in the same exact score. The first one was at Seattle, then they were at Philly, I do believe. This one's at Philly again. I still think it's a loss, though. I mean, I feel like both teams didn't really improve that much, but both teams didn't get much better, so they're still in the same spot. Then you have Green Bay, not at home, it's away. That's a loss, even though they pulled off the win last season. I don't think they'll be able to do it again. Then they're at home against the Saints. That's a loss, I'm sorry. The Saints are just going to be good. For as long as Drew Brees is there, they're going to be good. And then they are away at Arizona Cardinals. they'll probably lose that one too. You know, like I said with Dallas, Dallas has a chance of losing to the Cardinals, so I think Philadelphia will definitely lose that game. But again, one of the closer games of their season. Then they're away, they're at Dallas, so that's a loss in my opinion. And then they finish up at home against the Redskins with a win. So that puts them at 6-10, which, you know, pretty poor for what they've done the past few seasons by making the playoffs consecutively. So they finally do miss the playoffs here. And I think it'll just be strange, you know, with Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts in there coming in as a second-round pick. I mean, that is just a strange decision for me. And, you know, they did add Jalen Reagor in the first round, who I think will be very good, but they still need more. I mean, Alshon Jeffrey, is he still going to be okay? I hope so, but I'm not completely sold on the Eagles this season. Moving on now to the New York Giants. So I do want to talk about this kind of interesting subject. There's like 4 sophomore quarterbacks in the NFL that are definitely, you know, noteworthy that we should keep our eyes on, but not all of them are going to succeed in the NFL. Some of them are bound to, and some of them are bound to fail. In my opinion, these are Gardner Minshew, Drew Lock, and then in this division, you have Dwayne Haskins and Daniel Jones. Now, the thing is, Kyler Murray, I'm not including because, you know, he already started all 16 games. I think he'll be pretty good. I think he's a safe bet. But some of these other ones, I don't think they'll start a game after the season. I mean, one of them is bound not to. I mean, if all 4 of them do, I mean, from the same draft class, that is phenomenal. But if you look at, you know, history, like I think Josh Rosen, Sam Darnold, and Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, those are all, you know, in the same draft class. Josh Rosen obviously failed. But the other ones, I'm not saying Josh Rosen's bad, he didn't, you know, get the best luck, but one of these is bound to fail. And I think it is probably going to be Dwayne Haskins, but Daniel Jones or Drew Lock, they could also be that, or maybe there's even more than one. However, I think Gardner Minshew's safe, but anyways, we'll talk about that when the time comes. On to the Giants. So they start off at home against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's probably going to sweep the entire division. They lose this. Then they're away at the Bears. This is the 3rd year in a row they've played my Bears. First time, you know, when the Bears made the playoffs, somehow the Giants pulled off that victory, which is a joke to me. On the Bears would have been the #1 seed if they won that game. It's so frustrating to me that they lost that game. But the Bears did get revenge last year, and I think they'll get double revenge this year as well. Then they go to San Francisco. They're going to lose that game. Come on. Then they go to LA. Or no, they're at home for San Francisco. My bad. They'll still lose that game. I'm getting these mixed up. These schedules are all different when I print them out. Anyways, then they're away at Los Angeles Rams. That's also a loss. The Los Angeles Rams are not going to be good, but they're not going to be as bad as the Giants. Then they're away again at Dallas. We know that's a loss. Then they're home for the Redskins. I think they'll actually win that. You know, these teams are evenly parred, so I have them, you know, splitting. And then they're away at Philadelphia. That's a loss. They're home for the Buccaneers. You know, I can't wait to talk about the Buccaneers this season, you know, with Tom Brady and all that going on. I'll be really excited to see how it all pans out. And I think they may not live up to the hype they're receiving currently, but I think they'll be able to pull off this win and get revenge for the last season when they actually lost against the Giants because of a missed field goal by who in my opinion is actually one of the best kickers in the NFL currently. I think he'll have a phenomenal season, but that's such a random point. Anyway, then they're away at Washington. The Redskins, that'll be a loss because like I said, they'll win at home, but then they'll split, they'll lose away. Then they're home for the Eagles. This game I think they could pull off. You know, I do have them losing it, but if anything, this is one that they could pull off like they almost did last season. Then they're away at the Bengals. I think by week, what is this, like 10 or 11 here, they're probably going to lose as well. I think Bengals, you know, Joe Burrow will have, you know, it down by now, and he'll get some rhythm going like Kyler Murray did later on in the season. Then they're away at Seattle. That's a loss. Seattle is probably going to sweep the division as well. Then they're home for the Cardinals. So the Cardinals beat the Giants last year. I think the Giants could pull it off, but probably going to lose this one as well. If anything, though, you know, this game along with the Eagles game will be some of the closer ones that they have. Same thing with this next game here at home for the Cleveland Browns. I think that could be a close game, but I do have the Browns winning. And then obviously they're away for Baltimore. That's an immediate loss, probably one of the biggest blowouts of the season. And then they are home for the Dallas Cowboys. And whether it be home or away, the Dallas Cowboys are going to win both games against the Giants this season. They're rebuilding. They need defense, a little bit more on defense, a little bit more on offense as well. But I do like Daniel Jones. You know, he had some really good games last season where, you know, he tossed 5 touchdowns in one game. In some other games, he had a total of 4 or 5 touchdowns. Like his opener, I think he had 2 passing and 2 rushing against the Bucs, which was phenomenal. I mean, congratulations to him. Like I said, some of these sophomore quarterbacks, or at least one, will not succeed, you know, entirely. But I don't think it's going to be Daniel Jones. I think it's Dwayne Haskins, who we're going to talk about right now with the Washington Redskins. So starting off, they are at home against the Eagles. That's a loss. I think the Eagles are going to be able to pull off both victories against the Redskins. And then they are away for the Arizona Cardinals. I think this should be a pretty easy game for Kyler Murray and the Cards. So they're going to win that, as in Washington loses. They'll also lose at the Browns for week 3. Then they're at home for Baltimore. Again, I'm sorry, Baltimore's sweeping this division, probably almost every division. So that will be a loss. So they're starting off 0-4. I actually have them starting off 0-7. They lose at home against the Rams. They lose away at the Giants. You know, like I said, Giants will take one, Redskins will take one. So this will be their 5th or 6th loss, yeah. Then they lose 7th again, their 7th loss at home against the Cowboys. But things are turning around, not really. They do win at home against the Giants. I have them winning that in week 9 here. Then week 10, they are away at the Detroit Lions. I think they played last year. Yeah, they did. And I'm pretty sure what happened. I think, yeah, the Redskins actually pulled off this win surprisingly. But I don't think they'll be able to do it again. With Matthew Stafford healthy, he will not allow them to lose to the Redskins. Like, who was starting at that point? I think it was Jeff Driscoll. I don't think they had Daniels in it. What was his name? Daniel Blount, or the guy from Purdue? I don't remember. He was not notable. Anyways, they're at home against the Bengals. Because it's at home, I'll give them the win. Then they go to Dallas. They'll lose that. And then they go to Pittsburgh. They're definitely going to lose that. Then they go to San Francisco. This is tough. This is a tough stretch for them. They'll lose that game as well. Although I remember last season, I think they played and they barely lost. I mean, just, you know, if you look at the score, I think, what was it, like 9-0? I mean, that was just an absolute dogfight, but it'll probably not be as close this time around. Then they host Seattle. They're going to lose. They host the Panthers. I think they're going to win that game, just like they won against the Panthers last season, and actually a pretty good game. You know, it was kind of like, you know, the worst of the worst, but still an exciting game if you're, you know, a fan of the Panthers or the Redskins. So if you're a fan of the Redskins, you're in luck. You win here in week 10, but then you lose away to close out the season at Philadelphia. So that puts you at 3-13. I think that's pretty accurate. You know, they could go from anywhere from 2-14 to probably 5-11. Sorry to say, but I don't really fully believe in Dwayne Haskins. If they start Alex Smith, which if he is healthy, they definitely should start him for the first few games, just to let Dwayne sit and learn. I do like Alex Smith a lot, and I think he'll play with a lot of heart, especially, you know, if he's healthy. It all is contingent on that, which I'm pretty sure he said he'd be ready. So it all depends on if they want to start him or not. And I think they'd be foolish not to start Alex Smith, because if they did, I feel like they would win some of these games here. They might even win against Philadelphia at home. They might even win against the Browns and maybe, you know, win a few more games. But with Dwayne Haskins in there, I don't think he'll be able to, you know, win as many games as Alex Smith, at least during the early part of the season. So yeah, that is it. Obviously, I have only Dallas from this division making the playoffs and everybody else missing by quite a while or quite a ways. And yeah, like I said, those 3 teams, Eagles, Giants, and Redskins, they all have problems. And I feel like the only one that is really on the upswing that I could see having maybe a run next year would be the Giants. And Dallas, I think, they'll always be good as long as they have, Zeke, Amari Cooper. They drafted CeeDee Lamb. That was a phenomenal pick. Obviously he shouldn't even have been that late in the draft. So I think that'll be, a really solid offense as they have had the past few years, and they'll be able to win this time. I think last year they lost by a fluke. I think they should have won. But Cowboys do Cowboys things. So that is all for my NFC East predictions video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Obviously, just my personal opinion on all this stuff. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Perhaps you have the Redskins win. Please explain your reasoning, but I'd love to strike up a conversation in the comments. Thanks again. I'll see you guys soon for my NFC North predictions video. Bye now.